Hello friend, welcome back. In our previous video, we successfully executed all that our JavaScript in our add content, and here also I have created one of the route as a content generate. So now before creating this content generate route, now the time for creating that our API. So API related everything I have already shared that things with you. Simply go to your exercise file. Here we'll get one of the txt file as a new text document. Simply open it. That is some of the URL now that will be needed. Like that is a chatgpt.com. I hope you already know about it. And also here, if you go to that chatgpt.com, so from here actually you just create the conversation with the chatbot, the ChatGPT. But that is not our main thing. If you want to create that API here, in that case, we have to access that our platform, and that is OpenAI.com. So here, if you already have one of the accounts, so with the same email and same password, you can also able to access it as a platform API, that is OpenAI.com. So all the resources I have already shared that things with you. Here we have to go particular that area. Then they have also another link for the creating this our API, that is a platform openai.com setting organization, and that is a API key. So here actually when you access it, first of all, also you have to log in with the same user and email address and password. With this you can also able to access that our platform openai.com, and from here you have to go to that setting organization and API key. Then you will get this type of one of the interface. And also here now you have to add some of the balance, because that will be not free here. That will be very important, and I think that will be very good investment. So don't think about it that you have to also expend as a minimum $5. So when you put that as a $5, then you can also able to access this API. So from here actually they have the multiple things. I want to share that things with you. Like here, if you go to that billing, so into this billing area you have to add some of the initialized payment that might be as a $5. And before adding that your card, I also want to share that things with you. You may don't have any your personal card, you may be used for card which is available for the different country. Like you have one of the friend into the USA, you may ask to purchase this. But here one things actually is very important for taking that credit, taking this credit limit from into the ChatGPT. Here that is also another things, that is the performances. If you go to that preferences, into the preferences area, that have also one of the billing address. So here always make that your billing address and whatever the card you will be added in here. Like if you access it as a add payment details, here you have to add your card, you have to add your billing country, like you are using that billing country into the India, if you are using billing country into the Bangladesh. So here always that is the card details billing address, and also your preferences that is a primary business address. Both of these will be exactly the same, rather than your card will be as a decline. Okay, so it's very important. Whatever the card, if you have your personal card, it's totally fine. If you are using that your friend card or the different type of relative card, that is totally fine. But always remember, whatever the card you will be added in here, that is the country, address, everything that should be exactly the same this card actually use. So if you are using some of the USA card, here this card related all that address that should be the same, and this address also that should be exactly match with your performances, that means preferences. Okay, is very important, rather than you may not able to purchase it. So OpenAI maybe your card will be as a declined, so make that sure, that is very important. Okay, so that is my another account. I do have another account where I have already added some of the limit. So that is the process. Here you have to add your card number, you have to add this your card name, the billing details, all that information. Here first you have to add it, and same information you have to also update it in particular that area. Then you can able to actually purchase that minimum $5 $5. So into the $5 you will able to access multiple token. Okay, here that is very important. So simply take one of the limit, and after the taking limit you will be able to get your all that limit how many access. You can see for the ChatGPT 5 you can actually able to access that token as a 10,000 token per request. Okay, here that will be the bunch of the query limited there have if you are using the ChatGPT 5 mini, GPT 4.1, GPT 4.1 mini. You can use that GPT 4 mini, GPT 4. Okay, so they have the lot of the different type of model. You can actually use it for different type of model. That should be some of the different type of token limit. Okay, so here actually you can get accesses everything in your uses. When you purchase the minimum $5 or the $10, that will be actually display your budget in particular that area. Okay, here if you go to that edit, so that will be your total limit that will be display. So it's very important to first of all you have to purchase some of the limit, and after that limit you can able to create that token. Okay, so that will be your job. So that is my free account. So here I didn't purchase any limit, but I do have another account where I have already purchased that limit. So now that make that sure you add some of the credit in here, and after that you have to go to that your API, and into this API area simply when you create on the new API you have to add that your API name. Here you can select different type of project, but right now by default that will be get it as a default project, and whatever the name actually you will be added, then simply create as a create secret key. So after that create secret key, that will be provided one of the key. Okay, for security purposes I don't want to create it again. I have already created it like as a Laravel. That will be actually this step of one of the secret key that will be added. So here when you will get this your secret key, that is the secret key. Now you have to use it in your project. So here you have to simply copy this secret key, and also that is very important one of the things, like when you created any type of secret key, that will be only display for the one time. So always make that sure you save this information. Okay, here you just copy this and save the things into the particular some of the area, which is very important. So here that will be needed. Okay, so now that is the API key when you successfully create it. After that, if you want to check it's successfully working or not, here actually you can check it throughout that process. Like if you go to that particular this URL as a document platform openai.com docs and the guide.txt, and here actually they have some of the response message. That means that will be on the post method, content type will be as a application JSON, authorizations will be BREER, and that will be your Open API key. So that is actually Open API key, whatever the key will be created, so that will be your key. And then that will be the model name. Here you can select it, input what type of data you want to visible. Here actually you can actually check it. So better I will show you. You can check these things with the another software. I hope you already know the Postman. So here that will be the Postman. Like if you go to that Google and if you search with the Postman software, that is the one of the free software. Simply go their official website. From here go to that product, and here from the dispositions you can actually able to download it. Like that is actually our download. Okay, so here actually there is a resources template, and they have some of the, you can see there is a download Postman. So here there is simple free one of the software you have to download it. So I have already downloaded and install it. So that is a Postman. If you open it, so into the Postman area, you can actually check your API, whatever the API key you have created, that is successfully working or not, you can check it. So in that case, simply after install this Postman, you will get this type of one of the interface, and in here you have to do, that is the api.com. I have already shared this everything in your exercise file. Okay, here like that will be your total request. Okay, that will be one of the send request. So here you have to copy it, and you have to add it into this your Postman. That means here in particular that area you have to add it. Okay, that means here that will be like this one. So this will be actually this one. Okay, so this one. So here you have to simply add it, and then always method that should be as a post method is very important. I want to check it our API is working or not. So that will be your URL. that will be always make that should be as a post method here. Then you have to go to that header, and into this header area here, actually that will be your content type. So you have to do, maybe you will not get this type of one of the content type here. Simply write down as a content, and that will be as a content type. You will get this type of one of the content type, and this content type I have already shared in our headers area. You have to add that your content type, and then that will be your application JSON. Simply copy it, and here you can see I have already added our application JSON. Then that will be as an authorization. So here, if you don't have any authorization, simply write down as a authorization, okay, authorization, and you can see that is also supported as authorization. So here, actually two things here we have to do, add it. Right now I have already added, we don't need it. So that will be your content type as a application JSON. Authorization will be as a BREER, so that will be as a BREER, and after that, that is the API key. So don't try to use my API key, that will be invalid. But now here that will be your API key. Okay, so that will be as a BREER, and then this type of one of the API key will be generated from the ChatGPT API. So here I have already write down it into this content type will be application JSON, authorization will be BREER, and that will be your API key, which is your paid API key. I hope you already understand how to create it. So here you have to add it. Then you have to go to that our body and then the row. That means make that sure you update both of these and make that sure you update the API key, and then you have to go to that body. Into this body area here, actually you have to go to select it as a row. By default that will be as a none. Here you have to go to that body, and that is the row. And this row area simply update it or take this object data. So that is right now I'm using ChatGPT 4 mini, and into the ChatGPT model name they have on the store as a true, message will be role, and here into the content I pass some of the data as a what is the best AI application in 2025. So that is the simple one of the text. If everything okay, now when I hit this our URL, that should be responsive from to this our API. That means ChatGPT API. I want to check it. Like I put one of the questions as a what is the best application in 2025, and here that is our object data. Now if you say make it as a post method, I want to hit this our URL, send it. If everything you're okay, that means if your API is perfect, then that should be returned that one of the response data. And we will also able to get that our status, and our status should be as a 200. You can see perfect. That is a 200 status is successfully visible, and that is also successfully visible as a 200. That means now everything is fine, and you can see it's also now generated our total content. So this content now actually comes from to the ChatGPT API. So that is the one of the questions. I simply send it to the ChatGPT. ChatGPT API is understanding my content data, and throughout this content, it's now created and answered this our total content. Okay, that means when you get that as a 200, your total setup is fine, especially your API is working, which is very, very important. So make that sure your API is successfully working. So here throughout that Postman, you can also able to check it. So all that instructions I have also shared in your exercise file. So here I hope the concept is very, very clear to you. Great. So it's very important. So if you are getting it as a 200, and that means your API, whatever the API you have actually created, this your API is successfully working. Okay. So all that your details you will be able to get it from here. I hope the concept is very clear. Now we don't need it. I want to now go back to that our project, and into this project area now I want to execute our, that is the route I have defined in our add content as a content generate. That is the route I want to create. So if you want to create it, I want to go to that our web.php, and here better I want to create another group controller. Okay, then that will be actually better. I want to create as a route. Okay, that will be as a route, and route I want to name it as a controller, TRO. Okay, TRO controller, and this controller will be which one? Now I want to actually create another group controller for the content controller. Here I want to define the class. Okay, and then I want to create another group controller, so that will be a group will be one of the function, and this function here I want to call it So now every time we don't need to actually call that our controller. Right, so that will be actually every time I have loaded this our controller. Right now I don't need to do this. So in that case only we have to call that our route, and route will be our method, and then that will be our URL, and then in here we don't need this. Okay, I want to do that will be just like clean. Here I want to better make it as a clean. So that will be your URL name, and that will be your URL type, and then here I want to pass that our method will be which one. Okay, so that is our route. I want to define that route. That's fine. So now every time I don't need to actually call that our controller. Every time I don't need it, only that is on the group route, and here we have to now call it. Fine. So now I want to go back here. I have created on the URL. Our URL will be content generate. I copy it. Now name route, that will be not needed. That will be our URL. So I want to use that our URL. URL will be as a contain and generate. Now I want to create another method as a generate. Okay, GENERAT, generate contain, and that will be as a new. Okay, this type of one of the method now I want to create in our contain controller. So that will be obviously also another things. That will be one of the method will be as a post method. So here also I want to update it. That will be as a post method. So now I want to create this method as a generate contain new. I want to create it in our content controller. I want to go to that our content controller, and in here I want to create another method. I just name it as a public, and then the function method name will be as a generate new. Perfect. So now that is one of the post method. Also we have to get that our requested data. So I name it as a request, and also that will be the $request. So now we have to also fetch that our API related data, right? So here if you want to fetch it, that is also another Laravel package we have to install it. Simply go to your exercise file. I have already shared that things with you. That will be another command as a composer required OpenAI PHP for the Laravel. So that is the one of the package we have to install it, and then we have to also publish it. Okay, so the two things now here we have to do. So now I also want to set up it. Better I copy it, and then I want to go back here in our terminal. I want to better make it as a clear, and that will be your require and OpenAI PHP Laravel. Here I click as a enter. Now that will be download everything from to the internet, and here it may take little time. Okay, it may take little time. Better when that will be done, I will come back again. Here you can see, friend, that is successfully installed, right? That is our package here as a OpenAI PHP for the Laravel. We successfully able to install it, and that is totally done. And next process will be here we have to publish it. Simply copy it. Okay, copy. There is a PHP Addison vendor publish as a provider, OpenAI Laravel and service provider. I copy it, and then I simply paste it in here. Oh, sorry, I want to copy it again better. I copy it, and then here I want to paste it. Okay, now click as a enter. So now that will be do in our vendor, in our OpenAI Laravel config folder. It's created one of the file as a OpenAI.php. Okay, that means in our content, in our config folder, OpenAI.php is created. I want to check it here. If you go to that your config folder, that is in our config, and that is the created one of the file as a OpenAI.php. So here everything will be same, only now API key that will be accessed that our .env, and into this env area that will be one of the property as a OpenAI API key. So that is the our property. We have to copy it, and then we have to go to that our .env. I want to go to that our .env, and into this .env area here you have to do like before this. Here I want to add it, that is our OpenAI API key. So into this API key area here actually you have to add that your API key. Like right now for me, that is actually our API key. It's not appropriate one for security purposes. I am using the different type of API key, but that will be look like this. Okay, so here actually you have to add this API key. So that is the simple all that process. Okay, so here you have to install this package and then you have to publish this package, and after that will be created one of the file in your config folder. Into this config folder as a OpenAI, that is the API key. In our env file, you have to create one of the property by the name as Open API key. Simply copy it. In your .env, you have to add it that your Open API key in here, and whatever the key you have created from to the OpenAI platform, that is the key here. You have to add it. Okay, so that is the simple process, and that's how you can actually configure our total OpenAI key, that means OpenAI API, in your Laravel project. So it's very important. Make that sure you test your API, which I have already tested before with our Postman, and everything is worked successfully. And now here we successfully set up our rest of all the things in our Laravel project. Okay, great. So now we are ready to execute our next process. Next process will be generate the content news. Okay, here I have already created one of the method as a generate content new, and that is I have created one of the functions. Now in particular that functions we have to work. So better I want to continue this process in our next video. Step by step I will complete this our total method from here. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.